All right, tell me when we're recording.
We started like 10 seconds ago.
Oh.
That's the intro.
Okay, keep
Cool.
it.
Keep it in.
Welcome. Welcome to the Christian Kanye Club. We are going to be talking about Kanye West and the recent Jesus is King album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, aren't you going to do your second part of the intro? Let's just grab that. Yeah.
We're also going to talk about some of the controversy surrounding Kanye, like with his.
Wait, are we keeping that? No, let's restart.
That's the take. That's the take. What do you mean?
The controversy surrounding his candidacy for the presidency and like him his political views being a little bit no comment actually.
No
Okay.
comment.
Not yet anyway.
Not yet.
But we should start by talking about the album because that's really what this is about.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
What was your guys' favorite songs off this record?
Personally, I felt like this album wasn't really Kanye West's strongest work. Definitely some of the songs really slap. I really liked Every Hour. It's like a super strong start to the album, and I also really liked Sella. I don't know how to pronounce that one. But I thought it was a banger. What about you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with Kanye's other works, but I don't know. I really like the production on a lot of these tracks. I don't know, just sort of his production style with, using samples and sort of tying songs together with the samples creates really unique sort of instrumentation, and it sort of persisted throughout this record. So I don't know. I thought it was good. My favorite song off this, I think, is Closed on Sunday. This is the first song that I actually heard off this record. I heard it last year, like when it first came out, and I listening to the first part of it, I thought it was some sort of satire on Christianity, but listening to the second part of it, it sort of transitions into this like monologue and testimony for Kanye. And I don't know, like just hearing that second part of this song, it made me realize, like, if for good or for worse, this record is not a joke, and Kanye is serious about this transition. I don't know. It just became a...
Yeah, honestly, same in all regards. This was my first exposure to Kanye in general, besides all the stuff I like that's played on mainstream radio. So it was the first deep dive I've took into Kanye's music. And honestly, I was heavily surprised at like what I was listening to, because I know it's so vastly different from his other works, but I don't know. I thought I was coming in with like a more negative mindset of like, oh, this isn't gonna be all that great. But then you like enter the album with the first banger, Every Hour. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Honestly, that probably is my favorite song of the whole album. Just how powerful the chorus is, and like the piano in the background, and like the emphasis on all the beats. It was just so like moving. I don't know. Something about it just makes me like headbang. I don't know, but yeah.
I don't know. I think his I think his decision to like include the Sunday service choir on a lot of these tracks was just such a great decision. Like they just add so much. They have a great contrast with the sort of like solo performances with Kanye and his features, and then when they come in, it just adds so much richness to the album. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just the dichotomy between like the chorus and then his own solo voice. It just, both of them together emphasize each other so much, because when chorus drops, you just hear Kanye's like monologue. It just really emphasizes every single word he says. But then when the chorus comes back in, you feel like you're chanting and moving along and like cheering along with the whole song. It's really powerful.
Yeah, I really feel like Kanye is a much stronger producer than he is like a rapper or a singer. That may be a hot take, but some of his beats are crazy. And I feel like that really shined in this album. Like the songs are so focused on the beats.
I don't think that's a diss to Kanye, because like that's just tough to beat. His production is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like he's just great at sort of creating beats out of the repetition of like unique audio and like samples. You can hear it sort of on, the like rich pads on Hands On, and the sort of like, I don't know, train blinking noise on Use This Gospel.
Yeah.
They sort of like, they begin with these like weird noises that you wouldn't like expect a song to like build off of, but they become like the foundations for the rest of the songs. And like you see it as well in his other works, like on Kids See Ghost, Feel the Love, Kid Cudi, just saying I can still feel the love at the beginning. That sample just persists throughout the whole track. I don't know, it's just something I don't see a lot of in other works.
I think that's honestly like what makes his style so different from pop, yet incorporating both pop and gospel at the same time in this album. It's still the same like 4-chord progression. You can notice it through some of the songs, but what makes it just so, I don't know, for me personally, more enticing to listen to in comparison to like modern pop, just basic musicality, is by adding all of those distortions and like noises in addition to natural sounds like the gospel choir and like physical percussion made like bodies like stomping and clapping and all of that. It just makes it all more like versatile and dynamic, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's time to start talking about the elephant in the room, though. The lyrics.
Oh boy.
So, couple fun facts about the album. His pastor, Kanye's pastor, what's his name? Oh no.
Who knows? I don't. I don't.
Well, whatever his name is, Kanye's pastor was a big consultant for the album, and Kanye produced it a lot under his pastor's guidance and advice. So that was kind of cool. And then also, none of the songs contain any profanity, so it's a good.
Which is very different from his original style.
Yeah, it's a big contrast from some of his works.
Mm-hmm. But like some of the lyrics are interesting, and like in particular songs, like what made me also think that this could be satire is just on Closed on Sunday, like how much he references Chick-fil-A. Like what the hell? Like you're talking about a gospel, you're saying Chick-fil-A. Like
the first bars made me think it was a joke.
Yeah. But then when you get to songs like Selah, he quotes from the Bible and it's like saying verses like John 8:33, you know? And yeah, it's really interesting.
I also see that in like God Is. That like verse, that final verse of the song definitely just sounds like a testimony. Him saying, at the very end there, this is my kids, this is the crib, this is my wife, this is my life. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. I can't see this being a joke. I don't know. I think it's genuine. That's just what I think. Just hearing all the lyrics, the amount of effort he put into the production. That's just my take.
Yeah, just how personal the ending of God is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I've read about this album and like what I understand about it is, this is him like coming back to the church and religion and finding salvation in religion, because again, his pastor, he said that Kanye was like really struggling, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but he was really struggling, and making this album and like coming back to religion, quote, radically saved him, which I think is really interesting, how like this is, I don't know, absolution for Kanye. And then you can see like after this album, he sort of took a turn for the Christian, I guess, which again we can talk about later. But so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with Kanye's like religious history. I don't know. I think you mentioned in class once, Owen, that like God was always like a close part of Kanye's sort of lifestyle. Is that like something that you looked into for this?
I wouldn't say a close part, but he has had more religious references than most rappers. So I'm just looking at some of these. I'm on his Spotify page right now. There's like I Am God,
I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a Christian like reference. I think that's like okay. Never mind.
I swear there are Christian songs that he has done. I just cannot. Jesus Walks. That's the big one. Yeah, there are a couple.
I don't know. What do you guys think of the sort of like response from the Christian community? Like, how did they receive this album?
Personally, I didn't super look into it. Lauren, do you have any insights?
I think it was a majority split between, like, it appeals to the younger generation of Christians who obviously, like, still follow the beliefs of Christianity, but, like, are branching out towards different forms of media instead of just strictly what has been given. So this really appeals to younger generation, like our group. But in terms of the, like, more strict followers, and I would say older people, I guess, it's a little still, like, jarring that it's taken this form and so, like, heavily, I don't know, changed in comparison to, like, the calming and overall peaceful, I guess, connotation that comes with gospel music, even though, like, the stomping and the chorus is a part of, like, the roots of gospel music. But by taking that form of gospel music and incorporating it with all these distorted sounds that we were talking about was a bit of a jump for some people. So honestly, it's an overall split. But in addition to that, like, how Christians view this recording overall due to his past actions was something I was, like, looking into. It was very interesting. A lot of people said, like, they shouldn't, like, I personally agree. Like, I'm not one to comment on what one's personal, like, religious journey is all about, but I can see how it definitely seems contradictory based off of his, like, past actions with, like, Sex Edition or provocative themes in his past albums and all of that. So I was just wondering what you guys think. Does his past actions muddle the message in his music, specifically for this album of his journey of finding piety and peace, I guess?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I have some Christian friends from the middle school I went to, and I don't know, this is, like, you know, just one person or, like, a couple people, but they actually, like, warmly received this album. They said it was great, and honestly, I think that no matter which way you sort of paint this picture, you can't deny that this is an evolution or, like, a different take on the gospel genre that can appeal to, you know, a wider range than just, you know, the older generation, because, you know, American culture, we are moving more and more away from Christianity just in general, just numbers wise. So I don't know, this can be seen as a sort of way to get that sort of younger audience. So I'm not entirely sure if the Christian community, like, is accepting of that fact, but, you know, from the people I've talked to, they are willing, and, you know, like, they warmly receive this sort of, like, transition to a little bit more of, like, an experimental form of gospel that we haven't, like, really seen before.
And as to your previous question, Lauren, I feel like if anything, like the Sex Addiction and Times of Mania, I forget how his artist and his wife turned it, but, like, when he was geeking to be distasteful, I feel like those actually maybe strengthen and bolster this album as, like, him coming to terms with that, and, like, him, or coming to terms with that for himself, and him coming back from that, I guess. But yeah, I can see how also religious communities would see the mix of, like, Kanye West, who is traditionally seen as, like, stereotypical rapper who glorifies sex and violence, or maybe not violence, but definitely sex.
Yeah.
And, like, mixing that with gospel music, I can see how that would be a little bit startling.
In terms of, like, the sort of secular response to this album, there was this argument that Kanye was doing this as a big, like, publicity stunt, sort of using Christianity as a gimmick and just trying to use Jesus' name to, like, you know, appeal to just, like, the Christian subject of the community. And I just, like, I just personally can't see it. Like, I don't understand why someone would go from appealing to a general audience to appealing to a subset of that audience. yeah, I don't know. That's just what I thought about the sort of secular response to this. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah. I think I agree with you that like it's a strange decision if that were his goal. But at the same time, you gotta keep in mind there's like that classic thought of no publicity is bad publicity.
True.
But then I still don't really think that's really why he did this, because if those really were his motives to just like cause a stir and like, I don't know, use Jesus as a gimmick, then he went like really hard on that, because a lot of what he's saying like online and in the media is all about God, and like his statements for his candidacy, that's like totally God-centric. Let me see if I can find a quote. Yeah, just like this is a quote from an interview on, I think, Pitchfork. So he said, "For the other candidates, I just gracefully suggest y'all bow out. Trump and Biden gracefully bow out. It's God's country. We're doing everything in service to God. Nobody but God, no more. I'm in service of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and I put everything I get on the line to serve God." Like those, if he's really only doing this to as like a business decision, I feel like he may have overdone it.
Yeah.
Doing that, like with all of this that he puts out.
I think on top of that, just how we mentioned before, like just how personal he goes into some of the tracks when like the chorus drops out and it's just him and his own like production in the background. It just seems like he's putting so much out there that how could this be a joke, right? Despite the fact that he references Chick-fil-A, but in Closed on Sunday. But if you listen to like the lyrics afterward and watch like the music video, it doesn't seem to be a joke at all. It just seems to be like celebrating a community that comes together through religion, and also celebrating his own personal like triumphs of overcoming what he's done in the past through Christianity. I don't know. I don't see how this could be a joke, but also it could be easily misinterpreted as such, though.
Definitely. And I sort of want to, touch on that idea of personal growth, because I was reading this article by the Pitchfork, like the album review, and they sort of describes some of Kanye's like lifestyle changes after returning to Christianity. And I don't know, I'll just read some of these out. So like he admonishes his wife for wearing tight clothes. He asks collaborators to abstain from premarital sex, and began like keeping a Christian scorecard that like includes limiting. Okay, it's a Christian scorecard that limits him to 2 curse words a day. I don't know. Is this like is this a good return to faith, or is this like a super radical like?
Can I also,
I don't know. Should this
throw in some more quotes? Just
yeah, sure.
Sure, but I guess the question I want to like pose is like, I honestly think that his like interpretation of gospel is an evolution of the genre. But is he the best figurehead for like Christian music? Because his interpretation of the religion does not seem that progressive in the grand scheme of things. I don't know.
Yeah. Just I want to build on that. I don't want to like. I know I just said join the pile-on, but I don't want to feel like I'm actually tying with Kanye. But some of these are kind of hard to ignore. He called vaccines the mark of the beast. Planned Parenthoods have been placed inside cities by white supremacists to do the devil's work, which I don't know. That one might need a little more deconstruction. Yeah. He really has. I don't know. I don't want to say he's become a zealot and like a radical, but it's kind of hard to say he's not. I guess
it really is. Yeah, I don't know. He's Kanye will be Kanye, as you said.
It's so weird in the fact that you're branching out this traditional style of music and this traditional idea of Christianity, yet still holding on to those like very I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for, selective, I guess, selective ideas of Christianity that wouldn't be seen as progressive at all. So it's like a weird dichotomy in a way.
Yeah, definitely a paradox there.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I want to see where he goes from here, but I doubt that his sort of views will change on the topic. I'm not a Christian personally, and I don't want to discuss the merits of Christianity here. That's another topic. We do not have time
That's
for.
a whole other thing.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have to see where him being the sort of figurehead for this new wave of Christian gospel will go. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
All right. I also wanted to talk about some Kanye controversy that extended beyond Christianity and his views on Christianity. So his political opinions have been criticized by a lot of people, like his support of Donald Trump, his vehement support of Donald Trump, and some of the things he said, like slavery was a choice. That was poorly worded, I think, on his part, and also like I don't want to say what he was trying to say, but like not really a good or correct thing. We can go into that more later if we want to, but I just want to get your guys' take on that, and it's a really tough topic to discuss, so if you guys don't want to talk about it, that's cool too.
I think that also came up in the album itself, where I forget which song. Was it Hands On, where he mentions the 13th Amendment and like I should have been right instead of left or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah.
It might be Hands On. Let me check.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, huh? Okay. See, it was like, I don't know.
13th Amendment, 3 strikes, made a left when I should have made a right.
Like, what? Huh?
Well, I think what that was is the 13th Amendment is the abolishment of slavery, I'm pretty sure, but it also says like it abolishes voluntary servitude except if you're imprisoned, and he was quoted saying he wanted to abolish the 13th Amendment, and people took that for like he wanted slavery to come back, but
he wants slavery to come back. Yeah.
To abolish like the prison industrial complex and like the
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's just very poor wording and poor just way to spin the tale from the media.
Yeah,
but
I feel like that happens a lot. Like he says something and that's interpreted by the media and by like the general populace as like obviously not very good, but he was thinking like something else completely. Like slavery was a choice. I didn't super understand what he was talking about, but in my understanding he was talking about like the mental imprisonment of black people and like how they are I don't know, subjugating themselves in a way. I'm not agreeing with it.
Are we defending Kanye's political views here?
I am not. To start a conversation. I don't speak for Kanye, and I do not support some of the things that he said, many of the things that he said, for that matter.
I think very broad scale, the sort of idea that the media is tying his political views to his Christian transition, honestly, I think they can be sort of mutually exclusive. At least that's what I think. I don't think that Christians have to have right-wing views. That's just something that sort of the media has just construed the whole community as being. And I don't know, I see a lot of secular response to this album tying in Kanye's political views, and personally I think this album itself can just be viewed as a sort of standalone thing removed from that.
Yeah,
that's like the ideal, but you know, he does have lyrics that, you know, tie in his political views, but you know, just because you listen to this album and are Christian, I don't know, it doesn't put you in a camp immediately, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you.
And then, like, in a similar vein, he has a quote, he said that that is a form of racism and white supremacy, and white control to say that all black people need to be Democrat and to assume that me running is me splitting the vote. So basically he is talking about how in his mind, again, I don't want to speak for the black community, but like they feel, or he feels like black people are expected to just be liberal, and it's like taken as controversy when someone I guess that's like the other side of the coin that I was sort of talking about. I don't know, can you look at this album as a standalone sort of experience by itself, or do you have to consider the sort of controversy and political views and lifestyle choices that frame it?
That's like the overbearing question in like all art and media in general. Can you separate the artist from their work?
Into a different discussion there.
That's on.
I don't know. In my ideal world, I would
yes.
like
in the ideal, yes, but right now I don't know.
I feel like that also takes us back to the pop unit. Just like who gets to decide what the context is for an album and like what we're supposed to take away from it. I don't have an
exactly.
answer. For this album, it seems like it's a back and forth fight between the audience / media and Kanye, because just his he mentions a lot of his personal stories in this. Like, for instance, one song mentions his relationship with his dad, and also another song represents his relationship with Christianity in general, how he was able to fight back everything that he went through. But in comparison, the media latches on to certain things, like his mention of the 13th Amendment and his political views, and also just like given his past actions, everyone remembers that and sees how that could affect the message of the overall album. So yeah, it's pretty back and forth. And there's no set answer of Kanye's the one or the audience is the one. So
yeah, it's sort of, I don't know, the idea of like how much of like oneself should the artist like put into their music. Like, do they have a obligation to sort of talk about their political views within their music if they strongly believe about them, and how much should the audience, like, I don't know, care about that within the music itself? I don't know, it's a very tough topic to think about.
I don't know if we can really answer that. I know I can't.
Same here.
Don't think any of us can.
Did you want to talk about like go a little deeper more into Kanye's shift from mass appeal into like a more niche and experimental subject matter? I know you had your essay about Charlie XCX.
Yeah, Charlie XCX
doing the experimental hyperpop. Just like, I don't know, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Charlie XCX is just a different case to this, because you can look at her Charlie album and sort of see it as not a huge transition. Sort of the same subject matter. Kanye's like core substance of his works has completely changed here. The production is the same, but sort of the message and the way he presents that through like gospel, it's pretty radical. And I don't know if like this sort of idea of an artist using mass appeal as a sort of platform to jump off of to go into these more experimental and more like niche subgenres, it's always interesting to see, because it happens sometimes in the world of pop, like where you wouldn't expect it to. I don't really know what my takeaway about that is, but yeah.
It's interesting to think about. Do you guys have anything else you want to bring up?
No. Honestly, just looking at it based off of like the music and the message that Kanye presents throughout this album. I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed this album. I was surprised because it was Kanye, and I came in with I honestly came in with the view of like, oh, how's this gonna fare with my image of him and like his past actions. And then when I was listening to the album, I don't know, all that kind of just faded away for me, where I just got into the music, and then it was just overall more enjoyable. So
yeah,
same here.
I actually sort of had the opposite experience. I was like, how am I
Oh.
gonna like this with my previous experience with Christianity and religion?
Oh boy.
It was alright. I mean, I feel like I was able to separate two of them and enjoy them separately.
You
Yeah.
strip it down and just see it as music
Yeah.
to enjoy. Yeah. Oh, very cool.
All right.
Outro?
Very nice. Outro. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning into the Kanye
Before we
Club
go, this
podcast.
segment was sponsored by Raycon.
Raycon.
Raycon. You've heard of Raycon?
No, I haven't, Bryce. Could you please explain to me what Raycon is?
Raycon. Half the price of the premium brands sounds just as good. Use code Raycon / Christian Kanye Club at the link below to get yourself a nice pair of Raycons. I use Raycons to listen to Jesus is King. Sounds very nice.
That's a lot, guys.
How do you?
Got a banging.
I'm using
Not
Raycon.
a lie though is if you use our affiliate code at checkout, Ray J himself will deliver your Raycons and give you a little kiss on the cheek for buying the product.
With its sleek design and banging bass, you can enjoy music for up to 6 hours until you need to
6
charge
hours?
it. 6 whole hours of streaming music.
That's more than Beats and AirPods.
I don't
That's a
think
lot.
I've even been alive for 6 hours.